Have you ever sat alone in a quiet house, reflecting on a past that seems so distant now? You were the one people called first, the one who saw your grandchild's first steps, and the one who was always there to offer a helping hand or a comforting meal. You were the rock during your family's highs and lows. Yet, weeks, months, or even years have passed since you last heard your grandchild's voice. The silence isn't due to a lack of love, but because you're no longer permitted to see them. If you're familiar with this kind of pain, please know that you are not alone. This silence isn't just difficult. It's a profound, nameless heartbreak. Many loving and dedicated grandparents across the country are facing this same situation, and the pain is deep. You poured all your love into raising your child, supporting them from their earliest days through adulthood and into parenthood. You were always present, so finding yourself on the outside, cut off without warning, can feel like the world has been pulled out from under you. It challenges everything you believed about family. Some days, the pain is a quiet ache, a pang in your chest as you walk by a toy store or hear a neighbor talk about their grandkids. Other days, it's a loud and consuming sorrow. You might replay old conversations in your mind, searching for a reason, or you may have tried to reach out with letters, texts, or voicemails, only to be met with silence. This isn't just an absence. For many, it feels like a painful rejection. Often, this kind of family estrangement isn't sudden. It can be a slow build, stemming from disagreements over parenting, tension with a new in-law, or a simple misunderstanding that snowballs. Sometimes, though, it feels completely unexpected, as if a once close relationship with your child changed overnight, and the most hurtful weapon they can use is keeping you from your grandchildren. This isn't just a personal loss, it's a generational one. Grandparents provide children with wisdom, stability, and comfort benefits they may not fully appreciate until later in life. When that bond is broken, everyone is affected. We explore these complex issues on the channel Timeless Wisdom. This isn't just a personal loss, it's a generational one. Grandparents offer wisdom, stability, comfort things that children benefit from in ways they don't fully understand until much later in life. So when that bond is broken, it affects everyone. Still, as heavy as all this is, there is a path forward. Not an easy one, not a guaranteed one, but a path that gives you a sense of strength, clarity, and even hope. And it begins by understanding a few important truths about what may have led here. Sometimes adult children make the decision to cut ties because they genuinely believe they're protecting their children, your grandchildren, from something they view as harmful. That doesn't mean you agree with them. It doesn't even mean their judgment is correct. But in their eyes, something you said or did, or the way you interacted with them or their spouse, crossed a line they weren't willing to accept. Now, this can be incredibly hard to hear, especially when your intentions were good. Maybe you offered advice when they didn't want it. Maybe you disagreed with how they discipline or feed their kids. Maybe you were simply being the same parent you've always been loving, present, concerned, but they saw it as interfering or worse, controlling. In some cases, there's another layer to all this, the influence of a partner. It's not unusual for a son-in-law or daughter-in-law to feel uneasy about the closeness between your child and you. Maybe they come from a very different family background. Maybe they felt judged, or maybe their own wounds led them to view you with suspicion even if you tried your best to be kind. Whatever the reason, the pain of estrangement often lives in the space between what we meant and what they felt. And that space can be hard to bridge unless we're willing to look at things from more than just our own perspective. One of the most powerful and most difficult things a grandparent can do in this situation is to gently ask, did I play any role in this? That's not the same as blaming yourself. That's not the same as saying it's all your fault. But it is an act of humility and strength to reflect honestly. You might think back to that heated argument you had at a family gathering. The moment your daughter asked you not to give the baby candy and you did it anyway because, well, you're the grandma. That's what grandmas do. But to her, it may have felt like disrespect, not love. Or maybe there was tension that built up over time, things unspoken, feelings misunderstood, until one day she simply reached her limit and shut the door. Now, if you're hearing this and thinking, but I was falsely accused, or I didn't do anything wrong, you're not alone. That happens too. There are grandparents who are caught in situations where they've been misunderstood or misrepresented, and it's deeply unfair. But regardless of the details, one truth remains. The only part we can control is our own response. And this is where the process of healing begins. Not just for the relationship, but for you. It starts by respecting the boundaries your adult child has set, even when you disagree. That might mean giving them space, not calling, not showing up unannounced, not sending gifts if they've asked you not to. It's painful, yes, but it shows maturity. It shows love that's willing to wait rather than push. You can still reach out, but in a calm, measured way. A short note, a simple message. I miss you. I'm open to talking whenever you're ready. That's it. No guilt, no long explanations, just a door left slightly open, waiting. And while that door stays open, you focus on the one thing that's never out of your reach, your own healing. Because even when you don't know how long this silence will last or if it will ever end, you still deserve peace. You still deserve to wake up each morning without carrying the weight of confusion and blame. Let yourself feel the grief. It's real. You're not just mourning lost time. You're mourning the connection, the chance to be part of your grandchild's story. But as with any grief, there are ways to carry it with grace, and we'll keep walking that path together, one step at a time. Sometimes in the middle of all this heartache, it's easy to forget just how much you've given, not just as a grandparent, but as a parent. You were there for scraped knees, sleepless nights, first heartbreaks. You've stood in the storm of life and kept your family together more times than anyone will ever know. And yet now, in this chapter, it can feel like you're being erased from the very story you helped build. That's why it's so important to protect your heart while keeping it open. There's a difference between staying hopeful and staying hurt. Hope keeps you grounded in who you are, the kind of love you offer, the kind of presence you bring. But staying hurt, staying tangled in what you can't change, only drains you. One of the hardest things to accept is that you cannot force reconciliation. No matter how much you miss your grandchild, no matter how unfair it all feels, healing doesn't happen through pressure. It happens through patience, through moments where both sides begin to feel safe again. And for that to happen, the door must open from both sides, yours and theirs. Still, there are things you can do while you wait, things that matter more than you might realize. One of those is learning how to listen, really listen, if and when your adult child does decide to talk. Not listening to defend yourself, not listening to correct them, just listening. And that's no easy task, especially when what they're saying feels like an attack. Maybe they accuse you of things that feel untrue. Maybe they bring up memories you didn't realize had hurt them. Maybe they tell you they felt unheard, disrespected, or criticized growing up. And it stings because you were doing your best. But in that moment, your job isn't to explain away their pain. It's to hear it, to honor it, to make space for it. Because when someone feels truly heard, they start to soften, they start to trust, they start to believe that healing is possible. That doesn't mean you agree with everything. It doesn't mean you grovel or blame yourself for things that aren't yours to carry. It means you meet their pain with your strength, the quiet kind of strength that says, I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to try again. And part of trying again means making real changes, not just promises. If your child has told you they felt micromanaged, pulled apart by your comments, or undermined in front of their spouse or kids, it's time to really think about that. Not through shame, but through clarity. Because what matters now is what you choose to do with that information. There's tremendous power in saying, you're right, I see it now, I overstepped. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I understand that I did. That kind of honesty doesn't weaken a relationship. It invites it back to life. Sometimes it helps to put it in writing. A letter can be a safe space to express your heart without interruption, but only if it comes from a place of calm, not anger. It's tempting in your pain to write a letter that says, "How dare you cut me off? How could you do this to me? Don't you know how much I've given you?" But that only widens the gap. Instead, a letter that says, "I miss you. I love you. I want to understand what hurts you, and I want to be better," creates a chance for connection. Even if it's not returned right away, even if it's never returned, it still shows who you are, and that matters. Another part of rebuilding, or simply surviving this season, is honoring boundaries. That might be the most counterintuitive part. You might feel like now is the time to fight harder, to reach out more, to show up with gifts or apologies, or just your presence at the front door. But when someone has said, "Please don't contact me right now," honoring that is an act of love. It doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean disappearing forever. It means stepping back with dignity, giving space without bitterness, trusting that if a bridge is ever rebuilt, it'll need steady ground beneath it. And you're helping lay that ground by respecting their request. And while you're in this space, there's something vital you must not forget. You are still allowed to be happy, to laugh, to enjoy your life. That doesn't mean the loss doesn't matter. It means your identity is bigger than the pain. Find someone to talk to, a friend, a support group, a counselor who understands estrangement. Expressing your grief doesn't make you weak. In fact, it helps release some of the sadness before it hardens into bitterness. You can cry. You can scream in your car if you need to. But you can also sing. You can walk. You can read books that lift your spirit and cook meals that comfort your soul. Your life is still happening even in the midst of sorrow, and it's okay to live it. There's strength in learning how to respond instead of react. Strength in realizing that even though you cannot fix the past, you can build a wiser, gentler future. One conversation at a time, one breath at a time. If there's been a moment where your child said, "Please don't interfere in how I raise my child," and you pushed back, maybe now you realize how much that bothered them. Maybe now you see that what you thought was care, they experienced as control. That's a hard realization, but it can be the beginning of something new. A simple apology can open more doors than years of trying to justify yourself. Words like, "I hear you, I'm sorry, I'll do better," go further than you might think. And what if you're not given that chance to apologize? What if the door remains closed? Then you still take care of your side of the street. You still clean up what you can inside your own heart. You stay open but grounded. You allow the space, but you don't let it consume you. And in doing so, you begin to rebuild not only your connection with others, but your connection with yourself. There's an incredible kind of peace that comes when you know you've done what you can, that you've acted with grace, listened with humility, and loved without conditions. And that peace, even in the middle of estrangement, can carry you through. Even with all the growth and understanding, there will still be days when the silence feels unbearable. A birthday comes and goes without a call. A holiday passes and the chair at the table stays empty. You might catch a glimpse of your grandchild in a photo someone else shares, taller, older, with a smile you used to know like the back of your hand, and it hits you like a wave. That grief is real. It doesn't just fade with time, it changes shape. It softens in some seasons, and in others, it comes back with force. But you don't have to carry it alone. There's something deeply healing in putting that love somewhere. Maybe you write a journal to your grandchild, a letter for each missed birthday. Maybe you create a scrapbook of memories you shared and the ones you still dream of sharing. Or maybe you light a candle each night and whisper their name, just so the love has somewhere to go. Your heart needs a way to stay open, even if the door remains closed. And that's where the next step comes in, reconnecting with the parts of yourself that may have been pushed aside while you were so focused on your family. This is where healing quietly begins. What were the things that used to bring you joy before all of this? Was it gardening, painting, music, walking the dog, being part of a church group, or volunteering? Those pieces of you are still there, and they're waiting to be welcomed back. Start with one small thing. Maybe it's planting a few flowers in the backyard or picking up that book you never finished. Maybe it's calling a friend you haven't spoken to in years. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to show yourself that your life is still worth living fully, even when your heart is tender. There's a quiet kind of power in choosing to grow, even through grief, in choosing to show up for yourself when others have stepped away. And yes, it's brave. It's brave to keep loving, brave to keep hoping, brave to keep moving. Sometimes the relationship with your child might never be what it once was. And as painful as that truth is, there's also something liberating in letting go of what was so you can begin to imagine what might still be possible. Maybe in time your child will see the change in you. Maybe they'll remember the good, the safe, the steady presence you were. Maybe your grandchild will grow up and seek you out themselves one day. These things happen, often more than we hear about, because love, even when buried under layers of hurt, has a way of finding its way back to the surface. But in the meantime, you get to decide how you will live. You get to choose dignity over desperation, grace over guilt, peace over resentment. And it's okay to say, I still want to be part of their lives. That desire is pure. That longing is valid, but you don't have to let it define you. There's a future still waiting for you, one that may look different than what you imagined, but still rich with meaning. There are people who still need you, friends who'd love to hear from you, strangers who could be touched by your story. Grandparent doesn't stop being a part of your identity, even if you don't get to do the day-to-day parts right now. The title may feel like it's been taken from you, but the heart behind it remains. You are still someone's grandparent. You are still someone who loves deeply, gives freely, and hopes fiercely. So take that heart and care for it. Surround it with kindness from others, and especially from yourself. When things feel especially heavy, remember you have already survived so much. This moment, as painful as it is, will not define your entire story. It's just one chapter, and you are still writing it. You might consider speaking to a counselor who understands estrangement or joining a group where others share your experience. Just knowing you're not alone can lift some of the weight you're carrying. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering with softness instead of sharpness. One day, if that knock on the door comes or that message lights up your phone, you'll be ready, not from a place of desperation, but from wholeness, not to convince them of your worth, but to share the strength you've cultivated. And if that day never comes, you'll still have built a life rooted in love, compassion, and resilience. A life that honors the grandparent you are, not just by title, but by spirit. If you're watching this and feel broken or forgotten, please know this. You matter. Your love has value, and your presence, even if it's currently in absence, still holds weight. You are not invisible, and you are not alone. There are beautiful days ahead. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to share your story in the comments. You never know who might be reading someone who feels just like you and needs to know they aren't the only one. This channel, Timeless Wisdom, is a place for connection, where stories are heard and hearts are supported. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Timeless Wisdom for more content that speaks to your strength, your experience, and your voice. You're not just surviving, you're growing, and that is absolutely worth celebrating. Here's to living your best life at any age, with grace, courage, and love that never gives up.